The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. This is the essence of the story we are about to unfold. Betrayal is one of the most painful experiences a human soul can endure. It comes from those you trusted, those you gave your heart, your loyalty, and your sincerity to. What makes betrayal cut deeper than any sword is not the act itself, but the hands it comes from. Enemies cannot betray you. Only friends, family, or loved ones can. And when betrayal arrives, it tries to convince you that you are broken beyond repair. But what we forget is that betrayal, though heavy, is not the end. It is often the beginning of clarity, the awakening that reveals who is truly with us and who was merely pretending. Before we dive deeply, I want to ask you something from the heart. Please watch this video until the end, because every word is meant to reach you at the right time. And as a way to release energy together, I encourage you to write your warmest wishes and the number 77 in the comments below. This is more than just interaction. It is a reminder that wishes carry power, that words energize the universe, and that together we can create a current of hope. Do it once with sincerity, and then let the rest of this message enter your heart without distraction. Betrayal often seems like a victory for those who commit it. They walk away believing they have won. They believe that in breaking your trust, they have gained control, advantage, or satisfaction. But here is the hidden truth. Betrayal never creates lasting victory. Whatever they gained, it slips away. Whatever they tried to take from you, it becomes heavy in their hands. They sacrificed their own peace for a moment of deception. They lost something more valuable than anything they thought they took. They lost their integrity, their place in your life, and the respect that cannot be bought back. The price they paid was too high, because in the end they gained nothing. Think of the times you sat in silence, replaying conversations in your head, wondering how someone could turn so easily against you. That storm of confusion, that ache in your chest is natural. But as you sit here now, listening to these words, I want you to realize that the pain you felt was not proof of your weakness. It was proof of your depth. Only those with hearts that can love deeply are capable of feeling betrayal so strongly. And only those who survive it understand that betrayal is a strange form of purification. It burns away false connections, leaving behind only what is real. They thought breaking you would make them stronger. They thought wounding you would make them untouchable. But betrayal does not build a throne, it builds a prison. The betrayer is trapped in the very lies they spun. Their conscience becomes their jailer, their memories their chains. And you walk free. Because when betrayal comes, it removes illusions from your path. It shows you who is undeserving of your loyalty, your kindness, and your love. It teaches you to invest your heart where it is valued, not where it is exploited. Every person who has been betrayed stands at a crossroads. One road leads to bitterness, the other to growth. The bitter path keeps you bound to the pain, replaying the betrayal over and over until it consumes your peace. But the other path, the one of growth, acknowledges the hurt and then steps forward with resilience. It says, yes, they betrayed me, but I am still here. I still rise. I still move forward. And that is where the betrayer's illusion of victory crumbles. Because while they thought they had destroyed you, all they did was teach you how to live without them. When you reflect on the betrayal you experienced, you might still feel the sting. That is normal. Healing is not about forgetting. It is about transforming the pain into wisdom. Wisdom that tells you, trust carefully, but never let betrayal turn you cold. Keep your heart warm, because the betrayer's mistake should not become your prison. They paid a price, losing your trust, losing your light, losing the bond that once connected you. And in the end, they stand with nothing. The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. When we look closer, we see that betrayal always has layers. It is not only about the act of turning against someone, it is also about the silent choices that led up to it. Betrayal begins in small moments, when loyalty is tested and abandoned, when honesty could have been chosen but was replaced with deceit. By the time betrayal is revealed, it has already been alive for some time in the shadows of their heart. But the shadows cannot live forever. Eventually, truth exposes them. And when it does, the betrayer realizes that in destroying trust, they destroyed their own reflection too. The human heart is a sacred place, like a sanctuary. When we allow someone inside, it is not a casual gesture. We give them access to our vulnerabilities, our dreams, our fears, our truths. Betrayal is the violation of that sanctuary. But what they do not understand is this: the sanctuary of your heart is not destroyed by their entry. It is renewed by their exit. Their presence was only a test, and their departure creates space for something greater. It hurts at first, yes, because the wound is raw. But over time, the absence of betrayal is like fresh air filling a suffocated room. You breathe easier. You see clearer. You understand your own strength more fully. It is often said that betrayal teaches you who your real allies are. But it goes even deeper than that. It teaches you about yourself. It reveals how strong your spirit truly is, how deeply you can endure pain and still move forward, how much you can lose and still refuse to give up. The betrayer thought that by taking something from you, your trust, your confidence, your support, they could weaken you. But in reality, they only stripped away the excess, leaving behind the essence of who you are. And essence is indestructible. Imagine standing in a storm. The rain lashes at you, the wind tries to bend you, the thunder shakes the ground. That is what betrayal feels like in the moment. You feel attacked from every side, unsure if you can endure. But storms pass. They always do. And when they are gone, what remains? You, stronger than before, rooted more deeply, more aware of your own resilience. The betrayer believed they were the storm, but in truth, they were only a passing cloud. Your foundation is deeper than their actions. We cannot ignore the fact that betrayal leaves scars, but scars are not signs of weakness. They're reminders of survival. Each scar is a line of poetry written on the soul, telling a story of resilience, endurance, and eventual peace. The betrayer has no such poetry, no such depth. They are left empty, chasing gains that slip through their fingers like sand. You, however, carry a living testimony of strength. That is why betrayal, though painful, becomes a gift when you refuse to let it define you. There is also an illusion that betrayal creates in the betrayer's mind. They think they have taken power away from you. They think they hold the advantage. But the reality is reversed. Power is not in the betrayal itself. It is in how you respond. If you choose bitterness, they win. If you choose healing, they lose everything they thought they gained. And when you rise, when you continue forward with grace, you prove that their actions never truly touched your soul. They only touched the surface, never the core. In this way, betrayal becomes a mirror. It shows the betrayer who they truly are, someone willing to sacrifice honor for short-term gain. And it shows you who you are, someone who can walk through fire and come out refined. They burned the bridge, but you learned to build wings. They tried to bury you in silence, but you learned to grow roots in the darkness. They wanted to watch you collapse, but you became unshakable. This is the divine paradox of betrayal. What was meant to break you ends up building you. So when you think back to what was done, remember this truth. The betrayer thought they gained, but they lost. They thought you lost, but you gained. You gained clarity. You gained resilience. You gained freedom from falsehood. The price they paid was heavy, and the only thing they carried away was emptiness. They gained nothing of real value, because value cannot be stolen. Value lives within you, and no betrayal can erase it. The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. What lingers after betrayal is not just the pain, but the questions. Why would they do this? How could someone who once smiled with you, shared with you, and walked beside you turn so suddenly against you? These questions echo for a long time, and they can feel heavier than the betrayal itself. But sometimes there is no logical answer. Sometimes the answer lies in the simple truth that not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone has the strength to value what you gave, and not everyone understands loyalty. You may never receive the apology you deserve, but you will always carry the truth. You were honest, you were sincere, and you stayed true even when they did not. The betrayer may carry on with their life as if nothing happened, but inside they know. Even if they hide it well, they cannot escape the knowledge of what they did. Trust, once broken, cannot be repaired with lies. Respect, once lost, cannot be bought back with excuses. They sacrifice their place in your life for a fleeting sense of advantage, but that advantage fades quickly, and then they are left with emptiness, realizing that what they betrayed was not just you, it was themselves. For in betraying you, they revealed the smallness of their character, the fragility of their spirit, and the emptiness of their heart. For you, betrayal may feel like an ending, but in truth, it is often the beginning. When people walk away from you in betrayal, they leave space behind. That space is not a void. It is an opening for growth, for new relationships, for deeper wisdom, for more authentic connections. The absence of betrayal is not loneliness. It is the clearing of the path for something real to enter. When someone betrays you, they are simply showing you where not to invest your love anymore. And that redirection, painful though it may be, is a gift. Every betrayal is also a revelation. It reveals who was pretending and who was genuine. It reveals where you misplaced your trust and where your trust will be honored in the future. And most importantly, it reveals your own strength. Many people fear betrayal because they think it will destroy them. But you now know the truth. It cannot destroy you. It can wound, it can scar, it can shake your world for a moment, but it cannot take away your essence. And essence is what defines you, what keeps you standing, what allows you to rise again and again no matter who tries to break you. Think for a moment about how betrayal shifts the balance of life. The betrayer thought they were ahead, thought they had outsmarted you, but with each step they take forward, the ground beneath them weakens because they are walking on deception. Lies are fragile foundations. Betrayal cannot support long journeys. It collapses under its own weight. That is why the betrayer always loses in the end. Their path crumbles, while yours, though shaken, grows stronger because it is built on truth. And truth has no expiration. There is a strange irony in betrayal. It teaches you to trust more wisely. Some think betrayal makes people bitter and closed off. But if you rise above it, betrayal makes you sharper, more discerning, more careful with your heart. It makes you value loyalty more, and it makes you recognize sincerity faster. Betrayal becomes your teacher, though a harsh one, and its lessons guide you for the rest of your life. The betrayer, however, learns nothing. They repeat patterns. They chase hollow victories. They move in circles. Their betrayal did not free them. It trapped them. When you carry the weight of betrayal, you might wonder if it was all for nothing. But look closer. It wasn't. It shaped you. It refined you. It gave you wisdom that cannot be bought or taught in comfort. Betrayal carved into your story the strength that makes your survival meaningful. And though it hurt, It prepared you for a life where you will never again settle for half-truths or false love. The betrayer may think they wrote your downfall, but in reality they wrote the first chapter of your rising. So let your heart rest in this truth. Betrayal is not your end, it is your turning point. They paid their price, and it was steep. They gave away trust they could never earn back. They lost the respect that once covered them, and they threw away the bond that could have been their shelter. What did they gain? Nothing of real worth. What did you gain? Everything you needed to rise stronger, wiser, and freer. The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. There is a certain silence that follows betrayal. After the storm of anger, after the flood of tears, after the fire of confrontation or the coldness of abandonment, there is silence. And in that silence you begin to see clearly. It is in those quiet moments that you realize the betrayer's actions said far more about them than they ever said about you. Their choice was never a reflection of your worth. It was always a reflection of their emptiness. And once you see that, the silence becomes not a curse, but a kind of healing. In that silence, you also begin to gather yourself again. You notice the parts of you that still remain intact, the courage, the dignity, the ability to keep moving forward. The betrayer could never take those from you. They may have tried to shake your faith in people to weaken your sense of trust, but your inner light remains. It may flicker for a moment under the weight of betrayal, but it never extinguishes. That light is what guides you out of the shadows. That light is what ensures the betrayer's darkness never wins. The truth is, betrayal is always a gamble. The betrayer gambles with your trust, with your love, with your loyalty, thinking they can break it and walk away richer. But their winnings never last. Because trust is not currency. It cannot be stolen and used. Trust has to be earned, and once they betray it, it slips away like water through open hands. They may try to replace it, but the emptiness follows them. You cannot escape the price of betrayal, and they paid it the moment they chose deception. As for you, betrayal teaches resilience in ways nothing else can. You learn how to rebuild, not from scratch, but from wisdom. You learn how to close certain doors, not out of fear, but out of strength. You learn that not everyone deserves access to your deepest self, and that those who prove their loyalty deserve to be cherished. The pain of betrayal may harden some people, but in you, it becomes refinement. You are not colder, you are wiser. You are not broken. You are more whole than before, because you now carry clarity alongside compassion. There is also something deeply liberating in realizing that you survived what was meant to destroy you. The betrayer thought their act would weaken you, that you would collapse under the weight of their disloyalty. But you didn't. You are still here, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. That is their greatest loss, the realization that their betrayal was powerless against your soul. They wanted to see you broken, but instead, they revealed how unbreakable you are. And that truth is not only healing, it is victory. We must also understand that betrayal is not always about malice. Sometimes it is about weakness. The betrayer may have lacked the courage to be honest, the strength to remain loyal, or the maturity to face challenges with integrity. They took the easy road, the road of deception, and they paid the price. But regardless of their reason, the outcome is the same. Betrayal never creates joy, only emptiness. Their weakness does not diminish your strength. In fact, it highlights it. Because where they fell, you endured. Where they gave up, you persevered. Where they chose shadows, you chose light. The story of betrayal is not about what you lost, but about what you discovered. You discovered that you could endure heartbreak and still love. You discovered that you could be deceived and still tell the truth. You discovered that you could be abandoned and still move forward with courage. These discoveries are priceless, and they belong only to you. The betrayer gained nothing, but you gained wisdom and strength that will serve you for a lifetime. So when the memory of betrayal comes back, as it sometimes will, let it not reopen the wound. Instead, let it remind you of your resilience. Let it remind you that you stood in the fire and did not burn. Let it remind you that their loss was not your loss. The price they paid was steep, and what they received was nothingness. But you received clarity, and clarity is freedom. The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. With time, the sharpness of betrayal softens. The wound that once consumed your every thought becomes a scar you carry quietly. And as that scar forms, you begin to understand that healing does not erase the past. It transforms it. Betrayal becomes a chapter in your story, but not the whole book. It is a passage that reveals the contrast between darkness and light, between deception and truth, between loss and growth. And when you turn that page, you realize that the story continues, stronger, deeper, richer. It is important to remember that the betrayer is forever bound to their choice. They cannot undo it, no matter how much they may try. Even if they attempt to apologize or explain, the thread of trust they cut cannot be seamlessly mended. It is not cruelty that prevents reconciliation. It is the nature of truth. Trust, once broken, never returns to its original strength. They thought they could gamble with it, but they gambled with something irreplaceable. Their loss is permanent. And when they look back, they will see that their betrayal did not wound you forever. It wounded them more deeply than they expected. For you, however, the passage of time does something remarkable. It shows you that betrayal is not your identity. It was an event, an experience, but it does not define who you are. What defines you is your endurance, your ability to still be kind when the world gives you reasons not to be, your refusal to let betrayal harden your heart into bitterness. That choice to remain soft yet strong is what sets you free, because bitterness keeps you tied to the betrayer, but forgiveness, not for them but for yourself, unties the knot. Forgiveness says, I release the weight of your actions. You no longer own a piece of my peace. And make no mistake, releasing does not mean forgetting. It does not mean excusing. It means reclaiming your energy. It means taking back what belongs to you, your joy, your focus, your future. Betrayal may have shaken your present, but it does not get to dictate your tomorrow. Tomorrow belongs to you, and you alone. The betrayer has no power there. They traded their place in your story for a moment of deceit, and you walked forward into chapters they will never see. Sometimes, when the pain resurfaces, it feels like a shadow returning. But shadows have no substance. They only appear when light is present. Your life is filled with light now, and that is why the shadow of betrayal occasionally shows itself. But it cannot harm you anymore. It is only a reminder that you are walking in brightness, while they remain stuck in the dimness of their choice. Every step you take away from betrayal is a step into freedom. There is a strength in you that perhaps you never noticed before betrayal. A strength to rebuild, to dream again, to trust again even after being wounded. That strength was always there, but betrayal uncovered it. The betrayer thought they were taking something from you, but in truth, they revealed the hidden power within you. They pulled back the curtain, and what stood behind it was a soul unbreakable, a heart capable of healing, and a spirit unafraid of rising. So when you think of them, let it not be with bitterness, but with clarity. They paid the price of losing you. They lost the warmth of your presence, the safety of your trust, the beauty of your sincerity. And what did they gain? A hollow victory, an illusion of success, a fleeting moment of advantage that dissolved like smoke in their hands. Nothing real, nothing lasting, nothing worth the betrayal they committed. The price was too high, and the reward was empty. You, however, stand with something priceless. You stand with the truth. You stand with integrity. You stand with the unshakable knowledge that you endured betrayal and still moved forward with your head held high. That is something they will never have. That is why betrayal, though it wounds, cannot destroy. It cannot take away the dignity of survival. It cannot erase the power of resilience. It cannot silence the voice of your spirit that still whispers, "You are stronger than they ever imagined." The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. Time has a way of revealing truths that betrayal tried to hide. At first, the shock of it blinds you, the questions, the disbelief, the sharp ache in your chest. But as the days turn into weeks and the weeks into months, clarity grows. You begin to see that what felt like the end was in fact a cleansing. Betrayal did not strip you of what mattered most. It stripped away illusions, leaving only what is real. And reality, even when painful, is always better than living inside a lie. The betrayer's gain was always an illusion. They may have felt powerful in the moment, thinking they had outsmarted you, thinking they had taken something precious and kept it for themselves. But deception is a hollow treasure. It does not shine for long, and it cannot fill the emptiness inside. They walked away with nothing of substance. In fact, they lost the very thing they underestimated: the depth of your loyalty, the purity of your trust, the value of your presence. These are things that cannot be bought back once they are thrown away. And yet, while they sink into the weight of their own choices, you rise. You rise slowly, maybe at first with trembling steps, but each step is stronger than the last. You rise because betrayal cannot hold down a soul committed to truth. You rise because no matter how sharp the wound, life has placed within you a healing power stronger than betrayal's sting. And with every rise, you take back your strength. You show, not to them but to yourself, that you are more than what was done to you. There is a beauty in survival. It is not a beauty that comes easily, nor one that appears without struggle. It is carved through pain, refined through tears, strengthened through silence. Survival after betrayal is like gold forged in fire. The heat burns, but it also purifies. And when the fire dies down, what remains is unshakable, untouchable, and undeniably strong. The betrayer does not possess this strength. They walk with empty hands, while you walk with a heart that has proven itself capable of enduring the worst and still choosing to love, to hope, to live. Remember this: betrayal is not your story, it is only a page. The betrayer is not the author of your life. They are merely a passing character, one who chose to exit the story by their own hand. You continue. Your journey stretches far beyond their actions, and your chapters ahead are still unwritten. They have no say in what comes next. The pain they caused may echo, but it cannot write your future. That power belongs to you alone. It is also worth seeing that betrayal reshapes your vision. You no longer see people through the same lens. You see them with sharper eyes, more discerning, more attuned to truth and falsehood. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. The betrayer may have thought they were clever, but all they did was sharpen your sight. You now recognize loyalty faster, value sincerity more deeply, and protect your peace more fiercely. Their act became the very reason you grew wiser. And so, when we speak of betrayal, we must not speak of defeat. We must speak of transformation. You are no longer the same person you were before it happened. You are stronger, clearer, more resilient. They thought they took something from you, but in truth, they gave you something they never intended, the gift of awakening. They woke you up to your own strength, your own depth, your own unbreakable spirit. That is the paradox they can never escape. The price they paid was losing you. They gave up the chance to stand beside you, to walk with someone who valued truth, who carried light, who lived with sincerity. That was their treasure, and they threw it away. In return, they received nothing. They may carry on as if they won, but in the quiet of the night, when the world is still, they know. They know what they lost. They know the emptiness of their gain. And they know that while you rise, they remain bound to the emptiness of their choice. The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. In the end, all betrayal becomes a mirror. For you, it reflects your strength. For them, it reflects their emptiness. You look into the mirror and see a survivor, someone who endured the unthinkable and still kept moving forward. They look into the same mirror and see a deceiver, someone who threw away trust and received nothing in return. This is the unavoidable truth. Betrayal leaves scars, but scars heal into strength, while guilt lingers as a silent chain around the betrayer's neck. When you think of everything that was lost in betrayal, remind yourself of what remained. Your character remained. Your dignity remained. Your ability to love, to grow, to dream, these remained. Betrayal cannot strip away your soul. It cannot erase your worth. It cannot diminish the value of your existence. Those are eternal things, untouched by the actions of those who could not see your light. They may have tried to dim it, but light always finds a way to shine. The betrayer believed the story ended with their choice, but they misunderstood the resilience of the human spirit. They thought the wound would define you forever. Instead, it refined you. They thought their betrayal would silence you. Instead, it gave you a deeper voice, a truer voice, a voice that carries the wisdom of survival. Their betrayal was the closing of their chapter, not yours. And when history remembers, it will not remember their false victory. It will remember your strength to endure and rise. It is important to see betrayal not as a punishment, but as a revelation. It revealed who never deserved you in the first place. It revealed the falsehoods that would have weighed you down in the long run. It revealed the resilience you carry, perhaps without even knowing it before. These revelations are costly, yes, but they are priceless in what they offer you. You now walk into life more aware, more grounded, more connected to truth. That is a gain that cannot be measured, and it belongs to you alone. The betrayer's loss, however, continues to grow. With every day they live in the shadow of their choice, they are reminded of what they sacrificed. They may distract themselves, they may bury it under excuses, but the truth always finds its way back. They lost someone who valued them, someone who offered trust, someone who gave loyalty. That is a price heavier than gold, and it is a weight they will carry, whether they admit it or not. You, on the other hand, carry lightness now. The burden of falsehood is no longer on your shoulders. You no longer have to question their loyalty, no longer have to wonder about their sincerity. They revealed themselves, and in doing so, they freed you. What they thought would break you has released you, and this freedom is your quiet triumph, the victory that betrayal could never erase. So when you walk forward, do not carry bitterness, carry clarity. Do not carry the wound, carry the lesson. Do not carry the darkness, carry the light. For this is the final truth of betrayal. They gained nothing, but you gained everything you needed to rise into the life that is still waiting for you. The price they paid was your betrayal, yet they gained nothing. When all is said and done, betrayal is not the final word of your story. It is only a shadow that passed across your path. They believed they had taken something from you, but in truth, they lost everything that mattered. They lost your trust, your loyalty, your presence, your love. And what they gained was nothing. Nothing lasting, nothing true, nothing real. You, however, stand on the other side of the pain, not broken but transformed. You discovered strength you did not know you carried, clarity you could not have found otherwise, and freedom that only comes when falsehood is stripped away. The betrayer's chapter is closed. Yours is still being written, and in your story, betrayal is not the end. It is the beginning of something greater. So walk forward with peace. Leave behind the weight of their choice and carry only the wisdom it gave you. Because while the price they paid was your betrayal, the gift you gained is your freedom. And freedom is everything.